Hello, today we're going to be talking about the technology tool Sugarcane. It is a way to create educational games for your classroom. It's really easy to use, but there are some limitations. So we're going to go through and actually create a game. So you're going to see how simple, step by step it is. It really holds your hand through the process. But in doing so, it really creates really simple games that are really good for memorization, but not necessarily higher order level thinking skills. There are opportunities for students to create their own games, which would engage that, higher level thinking, but that would also require a higher level of account management, so it might only be valuable for older students. But for today, we're just going to go through a simple way that you can make the game and use it in your classroom. So to get to Sugarcane, you're going to go to sugarcane.com, really simple URL, and you're going to create a login. It's a really easy, simple way. You just create a username, an email, and a password, and you're all set up. And it will save all of your data sets on all of your games that you want to use. Today, we're going to just go ahead and start creating a game. So before we start to create a game, we need to create a data set. So this is very much like an Excel spreadsheet. So if you've ever used that before, you're going to feel comfortable with this. And this is a way of putting in data and separating it into chunks. And then you could use this data to create multiple games. If you need help, there's also a tutorial that will help you walk through the process. But we are going to go ahead and just get started. So I just came up with this really, really simple game to use as an example where we talk about Newbery Medal winners. If I could type, that would be helpful. And then we're going to talk about titles and authors of recent Newbery Medal winners. So as we go down, we can see that a lot of the functions and a lot of the features are exactly the same as Microsoft Excel. So it's pretty easy to use. Our first column is going to be our titles. Our next column will be our authors. And then we're going to go ahead and add a few examples. First would be the most recent one, The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. Then, Last Stop on Market Street. And then we can also add symbols. So, I was looking for that character for the N with the little accent over it, but I don't see it, so we're going to use a regular N. But if you were doing math, you could definitely put in equations, and there are other symbols here that you could use. Awesome. So this is what we're going to use for today. If we wanted, we could add another fact, add another column, and keep going down the spreadsheet. For this one, a good thing might be covers, and you can actually insert images of the cover of the book, and that could be another element of things they have to match up or things they have to sort. But for today, we're going to go ahead and delete the column and just use these two. When you go down, you can also add more items and add more rows. But for us, we are going to save and start to make our game. So here is our data set, and we can use this to create multiple games about this same data. So we're going to go ahead and create a game. When we look at the games, there are 18 options, and they are all pretty simple and kind of similar, but there's enough variety for it to be fun. They are organized both by type, so we have matching games, associating games, typing, ordering, categorizing games, and one other game. And they are also organized by level. So we can see we have a beginner, an intermediate, and advanced level games. And these are just suggestions. It really depends on the data you put in and how the game is going to work. For us, we're going to go for something pretty simple. We're going to go for an intermediate choose the match game, and we're going to go ahead and create that now. So Sugarcane is great in the way that it holds your hand through the process. So, how will your game be played? Very straightforward. In my game, players will see a title and choose which authors is the correct match. We can also add another relationship. Oh, just kidding. Because if we had more rows, then we could add more relationships and add which cover is the correct match, like that. We can change some of the additional options. So we can either have a countdown timer, we can have a set number of questions, we could change how long the game lasts. We can narrow our data, so if we had a bigger data set that we're using for multiple games and we wanted to make a simple intro one, we could just use part of that data set. You could change the titles, and you can, I like this one, sometimes reverse the question and answers. So mine sometimes will give the author, and then they have to choose the title. For me, I'm going to give this the same title, but again, if you're using the same data set for different games, you'd really want to label those games differently so the kids could tell which one was which. And then you are all set. You go ahead and click Create Game, and it is ready to play. So here is the perfect example of the game. We have the title, The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and then we have to choose our author. We know it's Kelly Barnhill, and it shows green's the next one. Play mode, you could do standard or practice, so it'll keep score of your correct answers. It has your time. There's only 30 seconds left in this game. You can start over and quit. Also, as the teacher, you can give instructions and change the instructions of the game depending on how long they are. Depending on practice, you have an unlimited number. You have a leaderboard, so when students start playing your game, they can compare their answers and times and scores, which is kind of cool. And you can share the game. So there's a, my time in the game is up. There's a link that you can share it with, or you can email it to a specific email address. So the link would probably be best for a class that is using the game in class, or if they go home. And then you can either share the link or send an email to all of your students or to another teacher who is using it. And that is it. I hope that you try out Sugarcane. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it is useful in your classroom. Thank you for watching.